Get ready for sports laughs and puro Latino flavor with Talk About Sports. Join former MLB star Adrian Gonzalez and comedian influencer Jay Mendoza for the inside scoop on all things sports. We'll break down the stats, debate the hottest takes, and take you behind the scenes with exclusive athlete interviews. Expect hilarious banners, wild sports stories, and those weird superstitions you won't believe. It's a sports podcast like no other, hosted by two chingon Latinos who bring the heat on and off the field.
Jay, welcome to another
episode of Talk About Sports, where this one is sponsored by
Adhere.
Adhere. Hey, ¿quién sabe, right?
¿Quién sabe? Veremos.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking water.
What kind of water?
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
All right, man.
This is good water.
It's good water.
We'll find out what kind of good water it is.
Put your ad right here.
Let's go.
So you owe me 100 push-up, right?
We don't know yet. We're still waiting. We gotta wait on the commission. But a lot of good things have happened in sports. So let's get into let's talk about sports.
Let's talk about sports.
Should we talk NBA playoffs?
Ooh, that's a good one. NBA playoffs. Celtics won the Eastern.
Is it
Conference.
really a good one though? Because it was 4-0.
Well, but the finals is going to be good.
Yeah, the finals is great.
Is what I'm really looking forward to now. I mean, obviously the Pacers, did well. They beat the number 2 seed and they were outmatched with the Celtics. But I think the West is going to win it all.
I think so too.
Well, if the T-Wolves come back and win that, they'll beat the Celtics, and I think the Mavs will beat the Celtics.
But I also like the Celtics. They've been. I mean, how many times have they made the finals already?
3.
The past 3 years, yeah.
No, 3 out of the 4 or 5 years.
Hey, being a Laker fan, I gotta admit, everyone says F Boston, right? But I kind of get to a point where it's like, I kind of want to see them
for
to
the
win.
Red Sox. I can't say F Boston. Yeah, that's right. You're wearing the Red Sox hat. That's right. I can't say that. No, I'm not gonna say F Boston because you know what? They were cool. I like Boston.
But so does your heart make you cheer for them just a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they got a great backcourt too. That's 2 great backcourts, right?
That is. It's going to be. I mean, if the Mavs make it, that's 2 of the top backcourts. Like not just this year, but all time.
I mean, Tatum. I mean,
Brown.
Brown. Tatum got the blessing of Kobe.
Yeah.
And then you got Kyrie, who also got a blessing of Kobe.
Yeah. Kyrie and Luka.
Luka, bro.
Kyrie versus
love the
his
movie.
old team.
Love the movie.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great finals.
I like it.
Definitely gonna watch.
Who wins that series?
I think the West.
I think the West.
I think the West wins.
I got the West.
I think it was a better division all year, which I didn't watch. I mean, I watched some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a better division all year.
I got Luka and Kyrie, bro. I'm a big Kyrie fan, and hopefully he can just cross people over. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, when he's moving that ball,
alley oops. You know.
That's right. I got Mavs.
And what?
I got Mavs. Mavs in 6.
Mavs in 6.
Mavs
I think it goes all 7 games.
Okay, I like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun to watch Game 7. Speaking of Game 7, the Lakers when they were at Staples, and I gotta verify this stat, but when Caitlin Clark, WNBA team, came to play the Sparks, they had more people in attendance. Broke the crypto now. Attendance record.
We can still call it Staples Center, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the Staples
Center. All right, come on. They
broke the Staples Center attendance record for 19,000 something, more than any other time the Lakers have played at Staples.
Wow. I mean, I remember, I couldn't afford to go to those games, but I know there was a lot of people there.
I went to Game 7 Lakers Celtics.
Woo!
Yeah, that was fun. And
Adrian.
that was fun. Fun. We had a day off in baseball, and somehow I don't remember how I got the tickets, but I got the tickets. I went with Chris Young, who is now the president of the Rangers, his wife Liz, and then Betsy and I. We went double date.
Where were you sitting? Courtside?
We were right in the middle, first row of like the second section. Perfect view of the whole thing. I mean, it was perfect.
Shaq and Kobe. Game
ugliest 7. Ugliest game ever. Just fouls.
Yeah.
Like nobody really shot well. But the Lakers won.
That was when they had the hack Shaq?
Yeah, that was when they had the hack
and he couldn't make no free throws.
I know.
Oh,
but hey,
God. Come on, Shaq.
Dominant. He was dominant. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. But let's talk WNBA.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark having a rough start and getting hated on by her.
So what were her stats?
Peers.
I heard she had like a 3-pointer until she had it was a fourth quarter.
I don't know her exact stats. I know she's been struggling. She did well the one game when they won against the Sparks. Mm-hmm. The other game she hasn't done well, and she's getting hated on by her peers.
Hey, man, obviously you would know, right?
What's your take?
Hey, I think she's still going to be great because, any sport, when you first start, right, you have off days.
You do.
And then you have slumps. Like I know you know about slumps.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And, dude, she's going to... Once she starts shooting that shot,
when she gets comfortable, right?
Yeah,
when she gets comfortable because we saw. If she learns how to like get the spacing, get comfortable, relax.
Well, imagine. Even in college, but would you say in college and now in the pros is more attention from different places?
It's pressure. She's got the pressure. She's up against a great defender every night. In college, I'm sure she went up against some very weak defenders.
Yeah.
This is WNBA. Every defender that's up against her is a great defender. So her ability to create a shot is a lot harder. And then you put the pressure of like having to make those shots because everybody's watching.
Yeah.
To me, that's a little bit tough.
And obviously, she was drafted first. So is that team really that good, or
no,
would you say they're helping her? Or?
I don't know how the WNBA works, but typically it was the last place team last year that needs help.
So it's 1 versus 5, right?
Yeah.
It's not one-on-one.
It's not one-on-one.
1 versus 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
so
man.
now, you know what? She's going through the growing pains, and I agree with you. I think she's going to come out and be a really good player. So I agree with you.
We're cheering for you.
We're cheering for Caitlin, yeah.
I will say this. I was watching the Mavs game and Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
I changed the channel at third quarter to tune into the Fever Sparks game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
I changed the channel.
Even talking about her makes the more I feel I talk about the WNBA, it makes me want to go to a game.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take my girls to a game for sure. And this is the part that last year at this point, nobody would have been talking about the WNBA.
No.
And she has brought attention and eyeballs to the sport and partnerships and all these things. So for people to be hating on her for whatever reason, they want to come up, raise, undersized, all these things. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, she broke records in college, and now people are excited about that. And she can shoot. She's like a Steph Curry to me. She can shoot.
She is. Yeah.
And so she's not going to wow you with dunks, but she's going to make shots with that, like, just quick pop.
And I feel like she's done her job to bring more attention towards the WNBA. So
100%.
Hey, even if she never scores another point,
she's done.
She's
already brought worth.
Dude, hey, make her the president of the WNBA.
For sure.
She needs to get traded to the LA Sparks.
That would definitely help a lot. But right now she's holding. I like what she's saying in interviews. She's not trying to be answer back. She's just giving the right answers and
she's playing. She's just playing the game.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it.
I like it. Speaking of slumps, I know you had a topic, Josue, that was about slumps and people having slumps and getting sent down. What do we got?
James Outman. He had a great rookie year last year, and you were in this situation where you think you're there to stay and you get sent down. What's your advice for someone like James Outman that's probably going through a lot of emotions?
Yeah.
You were there. What would you say to someone like him?
The first thing I would say is keep your head up. You got there. You've already proven that you can have success in the big leagues, right? You've proven to yourself and you've proven to others that you can have success in the big leagues, and all it takes is one minor adjustment, right? Yeah. But that minor adjustment is something that needs to be made. You can't just keep doing the same thing, and because you go to AAA and you have success in AAA, doesn't mean that you can come right back and without an adjustment and have success in the big leagues. It's not a mental thing where like, oh, he just lost his confidence. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that the league adjusted and he wasn't able to adjust
with the league
with enough time, because this isn't about him not being able to adjust, period. This is about him not being able to adjust for a certain amount of at-bats. And then you start getting in your own head where now it's a mental slump. Mm-hmm. It's not a physical slump anymore. So when the season started for about a month, it was a physical slump. It was he wasn't able to physically do it. After a month, then it becomes mental because he started doubting himself. And every time he was at the plate, he's like, I need to get a hit.
He's not going up to the plate with confidence.
No,
right?
I need to get a hit. I need to get a hit. I don't want to get out. I don't want. And now you're not. There's that mental part is just keeping you down.
So how does it feel? Like, I mean, what's the process of them sending you down? Like, do they just bring you into an office?
Yeah,
like, hey,
so
bro.
so they call you in. So, whether it's Andrew or Brandon Gomer, or somebody going to you wherever they find you, and they go, hey, can you come into Dave Roberts' office?
That must be one of the worst feelings.
Do you remember that day?
I remember. Yeah, I mean, so to me it was a little bit different because when I first got called up, Mark Teixeira was on the DL. And I knew I was only getting called up for those
amount of games
15
that
days, the 15-day DL. So I knew I was only there for 15 days or whatever it was, right? So when I knew he was coming off the DL, I knew I would get sent down. And so they called me in and, they told me, hey, Mark's coming off the DL. You did a great job. I actually did a really good job.
Yeah.
And normally if it was a situation where you could have kept your spot, I might have kept my spot for those first 2 weeks that I was in the big leagues.
Do you remember how you did?
Yeah, I did pretty good. I think I hit like 290 with a home run and 5 RBIs or 6 RBIs and in like 10 games. So it was good.
Yeah.
But Mark Teixeira was coming off the deal, so I got sent back down. Again, I got called in. It was in Kansas City. They called me in. It was a day game. The next day he was going to come off, so they sent me down in the day game on the Sunday before the team traveled, so that they wouldn't have to take extra baggage.
So did you take extra gear with you when you went back down?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you get some extra shoes? Extra cleats? Let me go wear this down.
No, but you go back down and you keep working. At least you've gotten a taste of it. Then over the next year and a half, 2 years, I would get called up and sent down, and called up and sent down, and called up and sent down, but never given that opportunity to stay.
Got it.
And never had success over a long period of time before, then had failure and got sent down. So, but I've seen it from a lot of people. And really what it comes down to is what I'm talking about is that adjustment, because the one thing we know is that they were throwing high fastballs, down breaking balls, and he wasn't able to. He was in between, and Dave Roberts talked about it, and that is a little bit of a fault of the hitting coach not being able to give him adjustments and being able to work on. Hey, you gotta either be ready for the fastball or sit back and look for the off speed and hit an off speed pitch that might not be just a hanging one.
That would be your first advice to him?
So if I was the hitting coach, for the team, my first advice was, hey, they're coming after you with high fastballs. Let's figure out how you can cover a high fastball. Because if you can't cover a high fastball in today's baseball, you can't hit.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to cover the high spin rate, high fastball. You got to be able to hit a fastball. And then how can we get you to hit a fastball and stay through the zone long enough where you can cover a breaking pitch that's in the zone, not just a hanging breaking pitch, a breaking pitch that's in the zone that maybe a little bit out of the zone that you can still stay through and get a single out of. And so that would be my advice is go to AAA and figure out I don't need to see you hit a 92 mile an hour fastball down the middle for a home run in AAA. That gives me nothing, right? A lot of times the pitchers in AAA are the pitchers that are up and down from the big leagues, and they're not that great. They can't execute. That's the reason why they're getting sent down. And so if he has 400 in AAA, it doesn't mean anything unless he's doing it against the right pitches. And that's what I would look for. And those are the adjustments I would tell him, hey, when you go up there against a pitcher that's throwing 96 and throwing high fastballs, those are the ones I want to see you cover or lay off the bat breaking ball down. Those are the things I'm looking for. And if you prove to me that you can do that and have success, then we'll bring you back up.
So when you have the amount of success James Outman had with the Dodgers, right? And then you get sent down, do you see it happen where he comes back up quickly, or it's kind of like he could be down there for a while?
Well, that's a roster situation too, because you had Andy Pages come up, and they kept Andy in the big leagues over Outman, and now Andy's having his down. He came in and he was on fire, and now he's struggling. So do they flip? That's the first thing. Maybe it doesn't take much. Maybe it's not on Josh Outman or James Outman. Maybe it's on Andy Pages.
Yeah.
So that could be a factor, right? The other factor was that Pages came up because Hayward was hurt.
Yeah.
So you have different roster situations that it's not always just on success or failure. It's based on roster and veterans and rookies and having options and not having options. So
And who's playing better at that time, right?
who's playing better? What the team, if they're going to face a bunch of righties, they probably prefer James Outman than Andy Pages because he's a lefty hitter. If they're going to face a bunch of lefties, they probably want to keep Pages up in the big leagues because, so if you're going to face 50% lefties for the next 2 weeks, they're going to keep Pages. But if you're going to face 80% righties, they're going to maybe swap them. So,
But I'm assuming this is where you go to AAA and work on those things that obviously you're not being effective.
you have to prove first and foremost that you made that minor adjustment. It's not a major adjustment. It's a minor adjustment that you just need to do. Like, hey, get your hands up a little bit more. Let's stand up a little bit taller.
So you think if I stand up a little bit taller, fix my hands, can I do it? Hey, come on, man. Don't look at me. Give me the benefit of the doubt.
Are we talking slow pitch softball or are we talking baseball?
Hey, 95-mile fastball. What am I doing, Adrian? Am I staying tight, staying short?
If we go to I don't even know what they're called now, fun for alls or one of those family fun centers, boomerangs, one of those places where they have the batting cages, and we go to like the fastest one.
Yeah.
And I see you hit, I can get you to hit that fastball. Yes.
Really?
Yes, 100%. I can get you to hit that fastball.
Can we make it happen?
Possibly. Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
And then when we prove it, we'll put your ad here.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to James Outman.
Yeah, definitely rooting for him. Good guy.
Have you guys seen this lookalike, the Shohei Lookalike?
I have not.
He calls himself Shohei Otani.
Is he tiny or what?
He dresses up as Shohei every day. And
every day.
Seems
so it's Halloween for him every day.
Every day.
It's Halloween every day. Does he go around and ask for candy every day?
I mean, what would you guys do if you had someone...
Trick or treat.
Smell my feet.
What would you guys do if you guys had someone dressing up as you every single day? Would you embrace it? Would you...
Well, first of all, does he look like him?
He looks like him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So he would, when he walks around Japan, people think it's Otani.
Is it in Japan or is it here?
He lives in Japan.
Okay.
But he was here a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
He looks just like Otani.
So in Japan, probably people laugh at him, but in LA, you think everybody just goes stampedes him and it's Shohei.
We'll throw up some B-roll for you guys at home watching, but he looks just like Otani.
I mean, if somebody dressed like me every day, I think at first I would embrace it, and then I'd be like, dude, okay.
Hey, find yourself a new costume.
After a little bit, it's kind of creepy.
Would you ask for a percentage of his income?
Is he making any money?
I mean, it seems like he's making a career out of it.
Really?
I mean, that's fine. That's hey, whatever helps you make ends meet and feed yourself or the family, great. But as long as he's not like, I don't know, like I feel
taking advantage of it.
I don't mind taking advantage of it. I just don't. I don't want there to be like, two separate things, right?
Yeah.
Like you're using that's great, but let me be me and don't like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
So what if he starts making videos of just himself at batting cages? Yeah, and he's actually pretty good. If people start thinking it's Shohei, I think that would be great content, right?
Yeah, it would. It would. It really would.
Or maybe Shohei takes the day off and he's like, "Hey, bro, just go to Dodger Stadium, bro. Yeah. Here's my car. You show up." It's his day off, and he just, maybe it's Shohei's not starting that day. He's like, just sit on the bench.
Exactly. Maybe Shohei's got to go renew his wedding vows without letting anybody know.
There you go.
And then he needs somebody to be in the dugout.
Hey, the stunt man. That's a real stunt man.
Maybe he was the one that was betting.
I know,
right? Do you have any Angel Hernandez stories?
Oh, Angel Hernandez. He's the news today. Retiring, aka fired.
Is that what it is?
It's they called it retirement, but I'm sure MLB went to him and was like, "Hey, you need to retire, buddy."
So how many years was Angel Hernandez in the
30
league?
years.
Wow, come on, man.
30 years. Well, I will say this: umpires have a union, and you cannot fire, you cannot send down, you cannot. There's so many things you cannot do. You can suspend them for like a week if they do something out of line, but you cannot suspend them for missed calls. So these guys could go out there and miss every call on purpose, and you can't do anything. It's part of their union agreement.
But how's that fair to the players?
It's not.
Do you think
they obviously part of what they do is that they're acting in the best interest of the sport, and so part of what they sign is that they're not gonna do it on purpose, but at some point I've been in conversations with umpires. A really good story with an umpire by the name of Brian Runge. I got up to, it was my first year with the Padres, and 2006. And first inning of the game, I think I was hitting fifth at the time. I came up, 2 outs, runner on first or something. And he called a pitch clearly outside, right?
Yeah.
And I go, Brian, you got that as a strike? He goes, oh, I know it's a ball, but now you know who's in charge.
Ooh.
So that was his response to me.
Yeah.
So like kind of telling a rookie like, hey, I know that was a ball, but now you know that I'm in charge here. And don't argue with me or I'm going to keep calling that pitch. So like at that time, he was trying to set his dominance on the young player
so he bullied
to
you.
let him know that you can't argue or I'm going to keep calling this pitch on me. So it was, and some umpires are like that.
Did it work?
I mean, it's one of those things where you just gotta. What can you do?
Yeah.
Like you can't get thrown out and then tell the media he said that to you because he's going to deny it.
Yeah.
So what do you do at that point, right?
So is this umpire still in the league?
No.
Oh.
But for other reasons.
Did he retire?
No, it was for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
And then there's plenty of umpires that'll call pitches, and a lot of umpires would be like, you would be like, hey, that's outside, and they'd be like, that's my zone. That would be the response. That's my zone. Like, you need to adjust to my zone. Like, my eyes see a strike zone, and that is a strike. So you need to adjust to me. Like, the plate doesn't matter. So
would you say at this point, as a major leaguer, you got to study pitchers and umpires?
So, interestingly enough, the only team that did it, and I requested it with the Dodgers, and they kind of started to do it, but not fully. The Red Sox would have a full chart on every umpire, so you would know when you got to the game what their zone was.
Yeah.
So like if his zone, like for a lefty hitter, if he called more pitches outside of the strike zone than inside, I can move up knowing that the inside wasn't going to be a strike, and I could kind of shift my plate, by me shifting in the batter's box. And so that's how I used it when I was in Boston. I would shift depending on the umpire's strike zone to try to move the plate depending on that umpire. And then you have umpires like an Angel Hernandez that will call the pitch right down the middle of the ball and the pitch way outside of strike. Yeah. And there's just no inconsistency. And that's the thing that frustrated players with Angel, and there's a couple more umpires that are like that, is that there is no consistent strike zone. Because as a hitter, as a pitcher, we'll all say we can adjust to consistency, right? If you keep calling that pitch outside, but you don't call the pitch inside, I'm okay with that. I can move.
Yeah.
Right? If you call the pitch up, but you don't call the pitch down, I'm okay with that. But when you don't know what's a strike and what's a ball, getting to 2 strikes, that's scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to be called and what's not going to be called.
And it's especially when they say protect, right?
Yeah. Well,
what do you protect?
What are you protecting? You don't know. It's like, at that point, as a hitter, you're like, I just got to swing.
Yeah.
And it might not be the right response, but that's the emotion that goes through as a hitter is like, and you'll see it like Bryce Harper, they showed a stat, he's been ejected 21 times. He struck out, he got ejected the other day because he got a pitch called that was, I believe, down the way. And that was borderline, but then he swung at the next pitch that was a slider that was way down, and he struck out. And he looks back at the umpire and kind of blames him for the strikeout. Like trying
to say, I swung at this because you're going to call it a strike.
Because you called the previous pitch, and this pitch started in that area where if it would have been the fastball, it would have been the same pitch that you already called on me. Yeah. Ended up being a slider. But a lot of fans will be like, well, that was a ball. Why'd you swing at it? Why would you swing? You didn't swing at the one they call a strike. Why would you swing at one that's even worse? And the reality is it starts looking like that, and then you obviously don't recognize the spin right away, and then it ends up being out of the zone. But it started in that area where you kind of have to protect.
So do you think these umps should be sent down to the minors or what? AAA?
I think there should be some sort of, like, as a player, right? We're talking about James Outman, right? He doesn't have success, he gets sent down. An umpire misses, We always talked about the worst umpire over a, let's say, April would get sent down, and the best umpire in AAA would get called up.
Yeah.
And then in May, the worst umpire gets sent down, and the best umpire gets called up. And so you have one umpire, right? That obviously no umpire wants to be the worst, statistically, but the union doesn't allow that. And that's the part where the union that they have and the agreement that they have with MLB does not allow that. That's why it doesn't happen.
So I'm assuming if you're in AAA or minors, wherever you are, right, it's kind of hard to get moved up based on these guys that have seniority and they've been.
Somebody has to retire for somebody to get called up.
Wow. They should always ship them all to the minors, you all got to go down. We got new ones this month,
Yeah, I mean, and the other part too, right? We're talking there's a lot of talk about like the robot umpires and then the challenge system.
Yeah.
Right? I'll tell you a good story on the challenge system when I was in AAA last year, watching the Oklahoma City team. So the reason I don't agree with the challenge system, I do think that there should be robot umpires, and they said 2026 maybe is going to be when it's going to come in, but it shouldn't be a challenge system.
Strike.
Ball. Strike. No, the challenge system, there was a situation in AAA. My first thought was like, challenge system's perfect, right? Let the umpire call, and if the hitter doesn't think it's a strike, then he could just raise his hand and challenge, right? Yeah. Well, what happened was that the challenge system, just like if you look at the NFL replay or the NBA, if somebody challenges, you have a certain amount of challenges, and if you get a certain amount wrong, then the team runs out of challenges, right? It's not just, you can't just challenge 100 times a game. So they have a number.
I would have challenged every pitch if I was that bad. Because I couldn't hit one.
What happened was over the first few weeks of this challenge system in AAA, a player in the first inning challenged the pitch, and the player was right. So they overturned it, right? In the second inning, another player on that team challenged the pitch, and he got it wrong. So then he lost one challenge. In the third inning, a player challenged the pitch, got it wrong, and so they ran out of challenges. In the fifth inning, the player that challenged in the first inning that won got a pitch called incorrectly, so he got a strike call on the ball, and he looked back at the umpire and said, "You can't challenge it." That was his response. Like, he was mad that he challenged and he won. The umpire had a grudge on that. And once the team ran out of challenges, then he was like, "Hey, I can do whatever I want now."
So do you think...
And that's the reason why the challenge system won't work.
Yeah. So do you think, like, I know you were ejected several times. These umpires had a grudge towards you?
Some of them did. 100%. Yeah. 100% some of them did have grudges. And, it's like everything, right? There's umpires that they can call terrible pitches on you, but you have a good relationship with them. And you don't argue. And there's some umpires that just, you even say hi and they look at you the wrong way. And you're like...
So did you bring this guy? You should have brought him some tacos, like, hey.
I know, right? I would...
Angel, here's some tacos. So dos de birria, dos del pastor.
I learned this from Brian Giles, and I tried it, and it didn't really work out that well. But Brian would turn around and look at the umpire and be like, "I bet you a six-pack that you got that call wrong." And the umpire would have to agree or disagree, and then you would look at it after the game. And if the call was wrong and Brian was right, he would request a six-pack from the umpire. And if he was wrong, he would send a six-pack to the umpire.
That's pretty funny.
But that was his interaction with the umpires.
This all happened while he's at the plate?
Yeah. No, it would be like a pitch, and he'd be like, six-pack? And the umpire would be yes or no. Like, funny. It's kind of like a challenge system, but it's more like I'm betting you a six-pack. And so I tried it a couple of times, and they looked at me like, I was like, maybe I should have offered a shot of tequila or something.
Is it because you're Mexican?
Or a taco.
they thought, oh man, this Mexican, all he does is drink.
I should have been like this, taco? Right?
Talking about baseball still, When you're a big leaguer and you go down to the minors for a rehab, it's known that you buy the spread. What did you buy? What was your go-to? I know you weren't down in rehab a lot, but
No, only one time ever that I went down to rehab. I went to Rancho Cucamonga, and then I went to Oklahoma City. Yeah, it is true. Now it might be different because now the team buys the food. So it used to be that the food was terrible in the minor leagues. It used to be just the clubby had like the worst food, peanut butter and jelly, like canned soup.
It's protein, bro.
I know, canned soup, like that was dinners, right? So yeah, the big leaguers would come down and buy spread. When I was in Rancho, because of the fact that I have the Jersey Mike's stores, I would bring in Jersey Mike's for pregame for everybody to have. And then post-game, I think one night I bought, I think it was like Olive Garden. Another night I bought like Outback.
So you just always ate good.
It's like you just
say, I don't know about spread.
You're not gonna go like super fancy because it gets there and it's not. You eat it like been sitting in these like catering. So you try to get steaks and pastas and like just better food that they would have. In Oklahoma City, I think there was like a really good steakhouse, and I just had the steakhouse. It wasn't great, but $1,500, $2,000. For the spread.
What would you get, Jay?
What would you get the team?
Dude, ramen noodles. What's up?
Maruchan for everyone?
Maruchan with a couple bit of shrimp, cook some shrimp up and be like, oh, it's un cocktail.
I'll tell a great story. When my first ever spring training with the Marlins, they had like this thing where certain big leaguers had to buy spread for spring training. And when it was Kevin Millar's turn to buy spread, he bought cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
I like that guy.
Literally the table that they have for the spread was like 300 cheeseburgers. No fries, no Big Macs, just cheeseburgers, like just a cheeseburger wrap.
From
right?
McDonald's?
From McDonald's, like 300 for the players to get, right? So some of the players grabbed some and some were like, what the heck, and blah, blah, blah. And the next day, there was like about 120 left over. The next day, they threw them all in right field. So when he took the field, there was 120 cheeseburgers in right field.
That's awesome.
When he wasn't looking, somebody took a bag and just dropped cheeseburgers all over right field.
Cheeseburgers.
It was pretty funny. I got to admit.
He must have been sponsored by McDonald's or something.
Must have been. I don't know, but that was a
McDonald's, put your ad here. I heard there was this big brawl.
You heard or you saw?
I saw. It's you versus all Canada.
It wasn't me.
I heard it was you, man. You said,
me.
"What's up, fool? What's up?" And
It wasn't me.
And it just started and went off. And all of a sudden, I see Adrian running. He was the first one running.
That's not true. That's not true. That was a brawl that I was not allowed to be in.
So what happened? I mean, how did that get started?
So
Adrian
first
said,
of all,
back me up.
First of
You're
all,
lucky he's holding me back. You're lucky he's holding me back.
First of all, WBC rules were based on runs or like run percentage or something like that, right? And the U.S., Mexico, Canada, the three teams at the top, only two advance, we all had the same record. So when Canada was beating us, they essentially needed to try and run up the score to help their chances of advancing because they had lost by a lot.
Yeah.
And they had won by a little bit. And so it was a fault of WBC because when they said that to be the reason why you advance, and baseball being a sport that you don't run up the score on, traditionally, you get to that, we call it
the mercy rule.
Yeah. Well, you call it like 6 in the 6th, whatever, 5 in the 7th. Like once you get to those, you don't run, you don't bunt, you don't do certain things. But because these rules were different, it was kind of the communication was off. So they were beating us, I don't know by how many runs, and it was like the 5th, 6th inning, 7th inning, and they stole, right? And so that started people getting mad.
Yeah.
And then they bunted. And that really set people off.
So what was the run? How much were they up by?
I don't remember the numbers, but
I think it was like 9-3.
Yeah, it was like 9-3, like in the 7th inning or something, right? And and so that started getting everybody heated because they're bunting, they're stealing, they're doing all these things. And that's when after they stole a couple times, they did a couple things, and then when they bunted, Luis Cruz picked up the bunt and like signaled to the pitcher, like hit him, like literally just said like, hey, hit this guy,
Pégale.
right? And I forget who the pitcher was at the time, but he throws a ball behind the hitter's back. And there was a runner on first because the guy had just bunted with a runner on second or a runner on third. I don't remember what it was, but he had just bunted, so there was a runner on first. And Larry Walker was the first base coach for Team Canada. And when the pitch goes behind his back, Larry Walker, like behind my back, because he was, first base coach, goes, hey, if this ends up being a brawl, I'm not letting you get involved. You're too valuable to MLB. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I just kind of like, he said that, and I kind of just like let it be, whatever. And then the next pitch, he throws it at behind his back. And as soon as like the whole thing happened, Larry Walker bear hugged me from the back.
Yeah.
And literally, I mean, I've never been picked up and bear hugged by a human being that way.
Can we prove it?
I'm sure you can pick up the video. I'm sure there's an overhead video where you can see it. He literally just like, and he is a big human being. Yeah. He's like 6'5", 250 and just muscle. And he literally, before anything happened, he just went whoop and just bear hugged me.
Yeah.
And he did not let me get involved. And everything happened, and I'm being bear hugged by Larry Walker.
You guys are having a moment.
He was dancing when like a quinceañera dance,
No, like I'm sure if you pull up the video, you can see it. But like I'm watching this as somebody's just like holding me from in the bear hug, and it was the craziest brawl ever. Like it just like it started and punches were thrown. And then I see one of my really good friends and teammates that he is like one of those guys that you need to like calm down because he just get when things happen people get crazy. Yeah. He's one of those guys. Everything kind of calmed down, right? And somebody from Team Canada pointed, and the two teams were on both sides by then. And somebody on Team Canada pointed and said something, and Alfredo Aceves literally went into Team Canada. The whole team and just throwing punches like this, right? And then so Team Canada just jumps on them. Like he literally like ran right into the whole team, throwing punches like just whoever he hits. Yeah. And then he got beat up, by the team.
I mean, do you think
like, Adrian got another bear hug?
but like then it started a whole nother brawl, right? Yeah. And then when he came out, he had a couple bruises, and he's like, "Why don't you guys?" Like back me up. We're like, you didn't tell anybody. You just ran right. Like, what are we supposed to do? What's up? But he's one of those guys that he is like a guy you want on your team because he just doesn't care. But he was that was a bad call on his. But then that started the second tier of that brawl.
Hey, Adrian, you should have just got off and ran in right in the middle like that.
Oh, you try to get off Larry Walker. Trust me. You try to get off Larry Walker. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy, crazy brawl. That was
So who do you think won that brawl?
Well, Team Canada won the game, I think, overall. I think Team Mexico won the brawl. Yeah. But
I take the brawl over the win then.
The story behind the story.
The story behind the story. Yeah, that was WBC's fault.
That's when you go, Viva Mexico!
Yeah, you think that was the biggest brawl in baseball?
No, there's been some huge ones back in the day.
You were involved in one that someone threw a chair in the stands
or
something.
Yeah, that was. But that was a unique one because that was with the fans. That wasn't with the team. Yeah. That was in Oakland. When I was with the Rangers, we were watching the games. I'm sitting in the dugout, kind of like in the corner of the Oakland where the helmet rack is, and the helmet rack's on the far side of the dugout. It's not like you don't walk in the dugout and it's to the right. You have to go all the way to the dugout. And so a lot of people will sit there at the end of the dugout, and all of a sudden we hear this like commotion, and everybody turns around. And they're like, "What's going on?" And you see, some people like throwing punches with the fans. And then we all, like, our dugout starts running out there, and probably 10 steps in, I see this chair flying into the stands. And you're like, what the? And
is this wrestling or is this baseball?
and, yeah, Frankie Francisco wasn't able to get. There was a line of players, and he was kind of like behind, and so he couldn't do anything. So his reaction was like, "Let me grab a chair and throw it into the fence." Obviously, didn't go well, and we had multiple meetings with MLB about that whole situation and the lawsuits, and that was a crazy one. But by the time we got there, it was already done. Like by the time the dugout got to that, it was done.
Hey,
Once the chair got thrown, everybody kind of went like,
forget that.
oh, like it was one of those moments where like everybody's fighting and then everybody stops fighting and just freezes. Like what just happened?
I know you have a buddy who has been also a part of a couple brawls. Maybe we could bring him on as a guest.
Who that?
He was on the Reds, and then when he played for Venezuela, he was a part of another brawl.
For Venezuela.
Yeah, Yasiel Puig.
Oh, he was in the fight with Venezuela?
When he was at Venezuela.
When he played in Venezuela. Yeah. And also in Mexico. We'll see. We'll see if he wants to jump on. But, he's a guy that a lot of people, a little bit like on the side of Caitlyn. Like, he came into MLB, made a huge, like, roar and got a lot of attention for MLB. And
I mean, even till now, outside of MLB.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, like, you get to know Yassi.
Yeah.
He's a great person. He's got a great heart. But he's been kind of like, he's very protective now and kind of defensive in a way because of the way people react to him.
It's like poking the bear, right?
Yeah.
How many times you got to poke it?
Exactly. And so like, he's
ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time. And, one of those things where if they would have just given him like a normal treatment, but because he came in and made so much noise right away, he was taken to another level.
Yeah.
And then he did things in baseball that were different. Like he just ran through stop signs and threw the ball over people's heads because he was trying to get it out. But all those things were with good intention. Yeah. It wasn't him trying to be different. It was just
purposely do things.
Yeah, it was just good. But, all those things created people to be like, oh, I don't like him. Because he thinks he can do whatever he wants. And it's like, that's not the case. He's just trying to win a game.
I mean, he would do a backflip. People would get mad. Now everyone does it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, things like that. And now, unfortunately, he gets put in the wrong light sometimes when it's undeserved.
And it's like they blow it up. And then when he does something good, they don't blow it up, right?
Yeah. But, we're nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And he's had a tiny bit of fault in some things he's done. So,
Yasiel, te estamos esperando.
El home run derby champ
de
la Liga Mexicana de Béisbol este año.
Shout out to Yasiel.
Yeah.
But that's it for Talk About Sports for today.
That's it. Talk about sports.
What are you drinking there?
Add here.
Add here?
I'm drinking Add here water.
Add here water. Till next time.
Till next time.